All right, man, peace. So last week, basketball superstar LeBron James attempted to force himself into the liberal athlete versus Donald Trump debate or beef per se, due to the fact that he was jealous over the attention that Steph Curry got from Donald Trump. Now at the basketball media day, he tried to ratchet up his self-inflicted rivalry with Donald Trump. And this is really the reason why I'm making this video, because I predict that eventually Donald Trump will cycle back over to LeBron James and give him the attention that he thinks he wants. But seeing that Donald Trump really lives to troll and LeBron James is mentally fragile, I pretty much predict that Donald Trump is going to embarrass LeBron and make him look really bad. But right now, LeBron is he's that kid in the back of the class throwing spitballs at the back of a kid's head. And then when the kid gets up to whoop his ass, he's going to act shocked. That's what I see with LeBron. Like I told you guys, I make a lot of videos because I foresee where certain things are going. LeBron is really feeling himself right now as a liberal athlete. The media is behind him. They're trying to create this narrative that he's brave. There's really nothing brave about what he's doing, because he knows that many of the corporations that he endorses are behind him, as well as the liberal sports media is behind him. But anyway, let's see how they cover this issue.
The thing that kind of frustrated me and pissed me off a little bit is the fact that he's now he used sport. He used the
No, sir. What frustrated you and pissed you off is that he responded to Steph Curry and dropped Steph Curry's name, and he didn't drop your name. That's why you got upset, and that's why you're so verbose right now, constantly trying to spit Donald Trump's name out of your mouth, because you're jealous. And right now your career is on the other side of the mountain. It's not on the other side to the point where you can't see the mountaintop, but you are on the other side of the peak. And you're really trying to embrace this status as a socially conscious or woke athlete. LeBron James wants to be the figurehead for that. He knows that he won't be able to overcome Kaepernick. He doesn't really care about Kaepernick because Kaepernick is not a rival of his overall. In regards to the woke movement, Kaepernick is he is the pagan god of woke Negroes, at least as far as the athletic portion of the woke movement is concerned. LeBron is trying to validate his role as second in command. And hopefully, if Kaepernick is not able to come back into football, LeBron can take over as the number one woke athlete. That's where his mind is at. But really, the main reason why he injected himself into the conversation was because he was upset that Donald Trump dropped Steph Curry's name, but he wouldn't drop LeBron's name. That's all this is about. Believe me.
use the sports platform to try to divide us. Sports is
It's such a distraction and a diversion. Sports is fun. It's entertaining. But in the grand scheme of things, for those of us who have real perspective, it's not really essential. It's something that we watch. I watch it because I enjoy the human condition and how those things play out in sports. You get to see who's courageous. You get to see who's a quick thinker. You get to see who is a good listener. You get to see who's a good follower. You get to see who's a great leader. You get to see who's committed. These are all aspects of the human nature that play out in sporting events. Now, when you get a greater understanding of sporting events, organized sports is really just the modern day manifestation of the old rituals to commemorate the gods. All right, and the gods come from the three entities known in history as Cush, Nimrod, and Semiramis. Okay, that's where they come from. All of the gods are just different characteristics or aspects of those main three people, right? Who we know, those of us in the know, who we know as Lucifer, the instigators of the great rebellion against the Most High and against his chosen priest at the time, that being Shem. It all trickles down today in the form of the Babylonian mystery school system that we call today Masonry or Catholicism, and these various religions all across the earth. But anyway, just getting back to LeBron. LeBron views himself as a sporting god. And he is a little worried that Trump is going to bring sports under his thumb and that LeBron will be marginalized. LeBron has a huge ego, so he's very, very concerned right now. But please understand, the main thing that is motivating LeBron to speak is jealousy, and he wants to inject himself into this confrontation. What he thinks is a confrontation, I really don't think it's a confrontation. I think that Trump is just speaking his mind, and that Trump has really been really tolerant in regards to the things that a lot of these athletes have said, when I expected him to speak a long time ago, but I guess he just had so much on his plate. He was waiting for the right time. He snuck in that little NFL thing, and he snuck in the Steph Curry thing, but I do believe that after the Puerto Rico thing is starting to wind down, he's going to cycle back to LeBron. And we're going to see if LeBron is really about what he's trying to act like he's about. We're going to find out. LeBron has shown that he's a corporate whore. Okay? It's just the reality of the situation. And we know that that Donald Trump is a businessman, number one. LeBron is a businessman as well. But the level that Trump is dealing on right now, mentally, LeBron is not ready for. This is why I mentioned what I mentioned about sports, revealing the psyche. Certain moments in sports and sporting events have shown that LeBron's psyche is not built for pressurized moments. I believe that Donald Trump is going to test his ability to deal with pressure very soon. But we'll see.
It's so amazing. No matter the shape or size or race or ethnicity or religion or whatever, it brings people together like none other. I'm not going to while I have this platform, to let one individual, no matter the power, no matter the impact that he should have or she should have.
You see how he snuck that in there? Once again, brothers, the woke movement and these woke adherents are women worshipers. I cannot stress that enough. They are women worshipers. Okay? All these guys, they go out of their way to mention she and all this. Why do they do that? They'll throw in LGBT. Why do they do that? Because what is closely aligned to the woke movement or the socially conscious movement, the liberal movement, is the empowerment of homosexuals over heterosexuals and the empowerment of women over men. Particularly, let me specify, so-called black women over black men, and so-called homosexuals, black homosexuals, over heterosexual black men. That is why Jemele Hill co-signed what she co-signed last week. That's why she snuck that in there. See, every once in a while, they'll sneak in little shit. They want you brothers to think that it's about the black man, but it's really not. Believe me. All right? It's really not. LeBron James is a corporate whore. Do I believe that he's sincere in some of his statements? Yeah, I believe that he's sincere. I believe that he really actually cares about his community to a degree, but not to the degree that he's trying to project. He's really just looking for attention. He has a lot of feminine qualities about him, and he's jealous of Steph Curry and the attention that he got from Donald Trump. All right? That's the main reason why he's doing what he's doing.
Ever use sport as a platform to divide us? I salute Colin Kaepernick for being as powerful as he was and being the one that he had to fall on the sword, unfortunately.
Fall on the sword to do what? Fall on the sword to do what? Somebody please tell me what Colin Kaepernick has fell on the sword to do. There have been no laws passed to change police procedure, and when they do pass laws to change police procedure, it's really going to be at the detriment of the U.S. citizens and not to their benefit. Believe me. Okay, what Colin Kaepernick has done, as he's been the figurehead of a discordian movement to promote chaos and to create a pretext to bring in order from the chaos that he's produced. Now, what that order is going to be, we're going to have to wait and see. All right, but they're trying to ratchet it up, utilizing these meathead athletes. And some of them are in the know. Some of them are not. LeBron is in the know to a degree. Remember, they used him to promote that fake spray paint the word nigger on his front gate psychological operation a few months ago. That went nowhere. Right? They keep attention mongering with these athletes, and people are starting to get turned off. You see what happened with Aaron Rodgers, but I'll probably cover that a little later.
And I hate that. And I hope that some NFL owner, I wish I owned an NFL team right now, I'll sign him today.
Don't worry about it, brother. You will never own an NFL team. You have zero chance of owning an NFL team. Okay? For a so-called black man to buy an NFL team, he's going to have to be so conservative and have about $8 to $9 billion for them to even consider it. Now, LeBron may have a chance to own an NBA team in the future, but NFL team, absolutely not.
But I think my voice and what I do in my community and what I stand for, I don't think that I have to show you guys more by getting on a knee.
Yeah, in other words, you could talk shit about how great Kaepernick is, but you're not willing to mimic what he did. So you're mostly all talk, and you're going to use his name to try to get attention for yourself. Like I said, to be the second in command as the woke athletes, but really the first in command as de facto leader because Kaepernick is gone.
The people that's trying to divide us are the ones who are trying to say that is a disrespect to the military families and to the people who served our country. It is not about that.
Who's trying to divide who? As I've stated before, in order for somebody to divide you, that means that you're unified. So-called black people and so-called Caucasians have not ever been unified in this country. So I have no idea what he's talking about. Those are more of the delusional ramblings of a liberal Negro. Once again, you never hear these liberal Negroes talk about unity amongst our people. It's always about the Caucasian. And they sit there and they try to speak boldly as if they're enlightened. And they're not enlightened. And look, like I said, I respect a lot of the things that LeBron has done for his community. Those things are great. But right now he's attention whoring, which is what he's very good at. And he's trying to start a rivalry with Donald Trump. And he's not really built for what he's trying to start. Because I'm telling you, when Trump starts to levy those verbal attacks at LeBron's going to fold up. I'm telling you, he's not built for it.
He doesn't understand the power that he has for being the leader of this beautiful country.
Well, that's not according to his constituency. There are tens and tens of millions, if not even over 100 million Caucasian people in America who do believe that he represents the image that they want their children to replicate. So-called black people are under this mass misperception due to the imagery that gets conveyed by the liberal media that Donald Trump does not have a great following. A lot of these protests and how verbal many of these athletes have been and these liberal people in media, they've done Donald Trump a great service. I'm telling you, that 2020 election, that's going to be a bitch and a half, man. You're going to see a lot of fights. You're going to see a lot of riots at these voting booths, right? Because people are going to be there online and they're going to be asking each other who they voting for, and shit is going to get ratcheted up, and people are going to start throwing hands. People are going to start stabbing and shooting. Okay? Because they have turned this man Donald Trump into some type of megalomaniacal monster. You know, they try to make allusions to him and Hitler. And look, you hear people say, oh, well, his father has Nazi ties. All presidents since Truman have Nazi ties. Okay? Do your research. The Nazis have been in control of the shadow government of the United States since Truman. Right? They are the ones who gave the U.S. the layout of for how the CIA should operate. Okay? The CIA is based off of the operation of the SS. At first, the original CIA was known as the OSS, and then it was converted over to the CIA with the assistance of the Nazis that were brought over here during Operation Paperclip. They instructed them on how to create a fully functioning intelligence organization. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. But when you truly understand the history of America since the early 1950s, you understand that the implementation of Nazi ideologies has had a direct effect on the social engineering of America. So, does Trump have Nazi ties? Yes, he does. So does Bill Clinton and the Bushes and Reagan and so on and so forth, all of them. Going back to Truman. They're the ones, the Nazis are the ones who brought in a lot of the mind control information and technology through Dr. Joseph Mengele that started a lot of the mind control experimentation that was known as Project Chatter, Project Bluebird, and now known as MK Ultra. But that's neither here nor there. Let's just get back to what LeBron's talking about here.
He doesn't understand how many kids, no matter the race, look up to the president of the United States for guidance, for leadership, for words of encouragement.
Once again, I just want people to please pay attention to how mentally fractured many of these liberal blacks that get on TV are. They're ranting and rambling about things that have never been said. But because they're so woke, they're so plugged into the social media world, where you have these numbnut, low-level thinking people that claim that everything is quote-unquote racist. There's real racism out there that people don't want to address because they're so busy trying to deal with the frivolity. And at the end of the day, LeBron James is just another blowhard who wants a hug from the white man and the white woman. That's why he was campaigning so hard for Hillary Clinton. All right? A sadist, Hillary Clinton is. A sadist. Somebody who has control over many of the higher level MK Ultra sex slaves across America. Hillary Clinton does. Whose main chick, Huma Abedin, who was the one who was involved with a lot of the email controversy that got her in trouble. And that's the reason why Huma Abedin's ex-husband, Anthony Weiner, is going to prison right now, because they got tired of him bringing attention to what was going on because of his sex fetish. The reason why he has such a sex fetish is because he wasn't getting any from his woman, because his woman was too busy licking out Hillary. All right? Same with Bill Clinton. That's why he was always fucking all these other broads, because Hillary didn't want to do nothing with him. All right? This is who this guy LeBron James is campaigning for. And also, let's please understand this, and I believe I brought this out before. Donald Trump wants to heavily tax any companies that are making their products overseas. As we know, Nike makes most of their products overseas. So, LeBron James can get on TV and try to act like it's about race. Really, with him, it's mostly about money. Is he a conscious, to a degree, and a conscientious athlete? Look, I'm not going to try to totally belittle the brother. He does do a lot of great things for his community. But he's trying to get on TV and act like he's going to be this great rebel and he's going to lead the people against Donald Trump and the fascist imagery that they're trying to create for him. Not saying that Trump is not a fascist, but the neoliberals are just as big a fascists. And LeBron James is a businessman, and he has a lot of business interests invested in Donald Trump not being president. Believe me.
He doesn't understand that. My calling is much bigger than that guy. I don't even like saying his name.
Yeah, because you're emotional.
I will lend my voice. I will lend my passion. I will lend my money. I will lend my resources to my youth in my inner city and outside of my inner city to let these kids know that, there is hope. There's
always hope. Long as you stay positive and believe in yourself. That's one thing that he said that I agree with. There's always hope. The main thing is that brothers have to be informed. They have to be informed and have proper understanding of what's going on around them and not be invested in being validated by other people. Right? Not be invested in being validated by the Caucasian. That is the problem.
There's greater walks of life, and not one individual, no matter if it's the president of the United States or if it's someone in your household, can stop your dreams from becoming reality.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that 100%.
LeBron was also asked if there was a positive in all this, and he said, absolutely, the conversation that is happening. Things are being said. I think it does a disservice to the term conversation to say.
Because there will never be a conversation. That's what you numbnut liberal Negroes will never understand. Nobody, the liberal Negro, when they say that they want a conversation, what they're trying to imply is that once people hear them out, that the listener will have no choice but to accept their sensibilities because they feel like they're operating on the higher moral ground, and they're not. All right. It takes such a leap of faith to accept most of the bullshit that is shoveled by these liberals, because once again, the things that they are trying to imbue on the people are things that have never worked in history. Female superiority over the man, homosexual superiority over the heterosexual. These are the things that they're trying to promote. So-called racial equality. And these are the same black people that don't know anything about their history or their culture, and they expect everyone else to accept them as equals. Why would they do that for? What are you bringing to the table? You're bringing more as a consumer than as an equal. So why would they accept you as an equal for? It makes no sense.
To say that's what's going on, because in order to have a conversation, it's not about people listening. I'm not going to throw that cliche out there, because there's certain things people are going to be dug in on and uncompromising on. We didn't even talk about the same thing. Like, we're still stuck in a year ago talking about the quote-unquote appropriate time and place, and whether the anthem is the appropriate time and place to protest. And worse, we're talking about the guy in the White House, which is exactly what he wants.
No, that's really not what he wants. Donald Trump said what he wants already. Donald Trump does not need anybody's attention. You know why? Because he is where he wants to be. He's in control. I mean, I'm just dealing with facts. All right? So-called black people a lot of times have been trained to deal with emotions and not facts. Negroes have been talking about Donald Trump for the last 2 years right now. He doesn't need to say anything to get attention from them, because they believe that he's the reason why it's harder for them to get the hug that they want. And it has nothing to do with him. People do not want to hug you. The real question is, why is it that you don't want to give yourself a fucking hug? That's the real question.
He's getting the attention that he wants. He's managed to once again make it about him. And instead of talking about the actual issues or the actual cause, we're talking about him and still debating the flag and the anthem. So there's no conversation being had as far as I can see.
No, because a conversation does imply listening, and it does imply you bringing a level of understanding and perspective, and a great word I like to use, empathy. You have to want to put yourself in the other person's shoes in order to understand where they're coming from.
Well, part of that is true. But the problem with so-called black people is that they don't even want to put themselves in their own shoes. But they want somebody else to get into their shoes. Why would somebody want to get in the shoes that you don't want to wear? So-called black people do not want to have conversations with each other about, exactly what the problems are, what our history is, what our culture is. Why is that? Because people like Jamel Hill understand that if she actually had to converse with a black man, a heterosexual black man, the topic would be broached that she has a place as a woman. Is she ready to assume her place as a woman? The answer is no. Okay? So as long as they can keep pushing this magical, mystical conversation with the Caucasian, the liberal female, and the liberal black male really don't have to assume their position. Right? People don't want to, as Bill Belichick would say, people and many people in the so-called black community don't want to do their job. All right? They prefer to get on the internet and talk shit all day.
And I do see a lot of people talking on both sides, but not exactly necessarily hearing one another.
No, most of the talking is being done by you, by so-called liberal blacks. Most of the people on the quote-unquote other side that respond to you are white trash. Most of the people that you're trying to get attention from don't want to talk to you.
And that's why LeBron is in such a unique position. And I have to say, I never would have imagined or guessed in my lifetime that I would see an athlete of his stature, of his power. I mean, we're talking about one of the 5 most popular athletes in the world, the best player in the NBA, who today used Media Day, where he talked for almost a half hour just about the president of this country.
No, he ranted and raved for a half hour. He made a couple of good points at the end as far as the little snippets that you showed. There's nothing brave about what he did. It's easy to speak in the way that he spoke when he knows that the media is behind him and encouraging him to do so. All right, that's totally different and disparate from what a man like Muhammad Ali did in the mid-'60s when the media was at his throat. All right, once again, you must consider the environment that somebody is in before you judge their character.
Speak to the
or lack thereof.
person occupying the office more than anything?
It speaks to the person, and it also speaks to the times that we're in, which are unusual for all of us. Because as much as, and we'll get to what happened in the NFL in a minute, there were a lot of things on the field of play that happened this weekend, and they were like the 40th most important thing because of all the chaos generated by the agent of chaos at times. So,
now, please, brother, did you see the terminology that she used? This is terminology that I've been using now for months to tell you brothers what's been going on. Now they're starting to finally acknowledge that this is what has been going on. All right? Once again, I don't make these videos for fun. All right? Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy making them. And, I do get a great deal of pleasure out of bringing out information and, the interaction, so on and so forth. But these people are finally starting to acknowledge that they are agents of chaos and that the methodology that they use is based in chaos and the promotion of chaos. And she even used the term that I use for these women and for most of these dudes that follow these liberal ideologies. They are agents of chaos. All right? Remember, she said that.
So for LeBron to sit there and use his voice, it was just really powerful. And I know that the conversation isn't necessarily supposed to be about him, but I'm going to make it about him so people understand that that is, to me, real leadership, is that the people with the most, who have the least to lose, and they still put themselves on the line anyway.
No, I think that the people with the most would have the most to lose if they were really in an environment where they had to show courage. That's what courage is. It's when the people with the most to lose do the right thing. All right, it's not courage when the people with the least to lose do the right thing. And I put right in quotes. All right, so she right there is revealing that, as I stated, what LeBron did really does not take courage because of the environment that we're in. We're in the environment that encourages athletes to speak their mind. Why? Because for the most part, they're not going to have to really suffer any consequences. People will talk about Kaepernick. The reason why Kaepernick is out of the league is because he can't play. All right? He's not good enough to bring onto a team to be a backup. He's just not. LeBron James has nothing to lose. He is in a time of social media where he can get his own message out. He is in a time where the mass media, for the most part, is super liberal. He's in a time where the commissioner is super liberal. So basically all he has behind him are cheerleaders.
To give people who don't have as much. LeBron's work in the community speaks for itself. What he's tried to do to educate the next generation of people. So it's not just what he's accomplishing through works. It's what he is accomplishing with his mouth, because that is equally as powerful to make people understand that he won't be silenced, regardless of all these things that he, quote, has to lose.
Bullshit. He can and will be silenced if they want him silenced. Okay? Believe me, if the powers that be really want to get dirty, they'll just go into his file. Everybody has a file. They leave him alone because he's not really a threat. Like I said, Trump will circle back to him when he feels like being entertained by going back and forth with LeBron. Trump is the greatest troll on the planet Earth. LeBron has been trying to troll him now for a while. He ratcheted it up because he got jealous that Trump gave preferential treatment or attention to Steph Curry. LeBron does not like Steph Curry, and he definitely doesn't like Trump, and it made him hate Trump even more that Trump gave attention to Steph Curry. That's all that's about.
Because he doesn't. He's in a unique position, and the fact that he's seizing this opportunity to be heard, I think, is special, and we need to understand that.
No, the fact that he's seizing this opportunity to be heard is a great business move. LeBron's constituency, at least how he perceives it, is the woke crowd. All right? Those are most of the people that he is speaking for. He keeps talking about using terms like unity. What is he talking about? He's talking about the liberal philosophies and ideologies that he's trying to embrace and that he's trying to embody.
No question. And, we're going to get much deeper into this as the show goes on.
There's nothing deep about y'all, so y'all really can't get deeper into it unless you're talking about the pile of bullshit that you shovel every day.
Right around 6:30 or so, we'll revisit this from a deeper level. I just want to say, I think one thing we got to do, and Pop spoke to this frustration and other comments that we haven't aired yet, but one thing we got to do is stop looking at this president with an expectation. The reason why I wish I could say I were disappointed. A lot of people say, I'm disappointed. Why? Disappointment implies you expect something different from him. How many times does a duck have to quack before you call it a duck? How many dog whistles does he have to blow before people realize who and what he actually is, or what he does or does not stand for?
I agree. And what he's trying to imply is something, of course, that's contrary to his liberal beliefs. But everybody knows what Trump is about. Trump is going to stand on his platform. And that's why the constituency that is loyal to him is loyal to him, because they know that he's not going to change up his message. That's why the people that ride for him. And that's why he represents them. When he goes down to Huntsville, Alabama, he knows who his constituency is. Conservative Caucasians. Right? Simple as that.
This is who you elected. And it's not about, he wasn't speaking to that crowd in Alabama. He was speaking for them.
Ding. You mean after 2 years your dumbass finally get it? Get his nigga a cookie.
Yeah. He speaks for a lot of people. So we're going to...
Finally, is the breakthrough. Michael Smith.
So we're going to leave it there for now. We got a lot to cover, a lot of layers to this, but let's keep it moving on to the NFL.
Damn. Took this nigga long enough to finally understand what's going on. All right, so now let's see what Stephen A. and Max have to say about this issue.
Thank you, Tony. LeBron there with thoughtful and powerful comments. Stephen A., talk to me. Do you like what he said?
No, I don't. I absolutely love it. I'm incredibly proud of him, how he's come forward. Some people might say it's a little bit late to the party because others have been speaking out for months about, the actions and the behavior of our president. But
no, he's not late to the party. He's right on time. He's right on time to attention monger.
But I will remind everybody that LeBron James did campaign for Hillary Clinton.
Yes, I remind them too. For the woman who called young black men super predators. That person. Right? The person who has been operating behind the scenes since the 80s. The person who likes to mutilate the genitalia of her female sex slaves, believe it or not. All right? Allegedly. It is what it is. You can read about it in the books Transformation of America and Thanks for the Memories. Hillary Clinton is what's known as a grand dame. I've mentioned this before. Guys like Stephen A. Smith, he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. And this is why they're starting to promote the mixing of political talk and sports talk. Because it's all a joke anyway. Right? Sports is a joke and so is politics.
I think that was a profound statement in and of itself. And he never deserved to be criticized for what he elected not to say. This is the same individual that once refused to sign a petition to speak against China because of their actions with Darfur years ago. And LeBron was criticized for that. But his explanation was he wants to be educated about something before he speaks on it.
Yeah, of course that was his explanation, because China, as everybody knows, is a huge, huge consumer outlet for Nike. That's why their athletes go there every year. So that's why LeBron will not speak out against China in regards to their relationship with Darfur. Once again, LeBron James is a corporate whore. It is to his advantage to speak against Trump, because Trump, as I've already stated, has declared that he is going to sanction a lot of companies that make their products overseas. Okay? Once again, that is why they're mixing sports and politics so much, because they're both jokes. When I say they're both jokes, I mean what? They're both for the entertainment of the masses. Okay? That's what the word sport literally means. It means to jest, to joke. All right?
And so now what we're witnessing is an individual that obviously does his homework, that's obviously paying attention.
No, he's not doing no fucking homework. There's nothing that he said in that spiel that show you that he does homework. All he's doing was ranting and raving.
And that is conscientious enough to speak on issues that permeate our society. I mean, when you think about the world of social media, Max, the soccer player Ronaldo, I mean, he's number 2 in the world in terms of professional athletes and their impact on social media.
Look at LeBron. LeBron is a politician just like Hitler is. Right? He's a politician just like her. Meaning what? He's going to say what he needs to say in front of whatever crowd he needs to say it in order to make you think what he wants you to think.
LeBron James is an incredibly influential individual whose soul appears to be in the right place. And let us not forget that when we speak to...
I don't understand, how would Stephen A. Smith know where LeBron's soul is? He can go by his actions. You could say, well, based on his actions, he seems to want to do the right thing. You don't know where his soul is at, bruh.
to issues of separation, of divide, of racism, prejudice, and bigotry, and things of that nature.
And you see in that little caption, or pardon me, in that little clip, that little snippet, LeBron trotted out his little show pony, J.R. Smith. Because when those guys signed to his company, they become his indentured servants, right? That's why Tristan Thompson spazzed out on LeBron, because LeBron thinks that once he helps you out financially, that he has the right to treat you like a hoe. And Tristan Thompson wasn't having it.
Nature. Need I remind everybody that this man has a home in Brentwood, California, where racial epithets were sprayed on his front gate.
Allegedly.
He's got children to care for and to protect, a lovely wife to do the same for. And he was subjected, and obviously growing up in the streets of Akron, Ohio, with his mother, who I love dearly.
I bet. Everybody love his mama. I mean, shit, she like the drive-through. All you got to do is stop by, you get served.
You got to remember that he's been subjected to a lot of things. And so when he speaks of the actions, the mentality, the insensitive nature of our president, he's coming from a place where it hits home and it hurts.
Stephen A. Smith is so funny. He's one of these guys who talks about the sensitivity of modern day athletes. But then when you have a guy in a Donald Trump who basically just speaks his mind, speaks his truth, whether you agree with it or not, and people go back at him in kind, and he just comes back with his shit. People like Stephen A. Smith call him insensitive. Well, you can't have it both ways. Here's the thing with Trump. Trump is basically going to be who he is. All right? I could deal with somebody like that. I could deal with a person coming to my face, look, I don't like you because you're a nigger. I could deal with that. All right? What I can't deal with is somebody coming and saying, hey, we all need to work together. And meanwhile, in their mind, they're thinking you fucking nigger. Right? That's something that I cannot deal with, because that's more disrespectful to me. That's why I respect somebody like Donald Trump more. And a lot of silly liberal Negroes, they won't understand that because they like to be lied to.
And that can't be ignored in this either. And, you've got even guys like Michael Jordan coming out and speaking in support of protest and in support of unity being something that needs to be displayed, because
Michael ain't thinking about that bullshit. Michael on the golf course with a big ass stogie in his mouth. He told his press secretary, he said, go type something up for these little lame niggas before they start bothering me again. Michael Jordan's attitude is he's done with the whole shit. Michael done signed 40 million autographs. He don't care about what anybody think about anything. He just wants to be with that big booty Cuban chick that he married and play golf all day, and drink Hennessy straight out the bottle.
Because that's how divisive our present commander-in-chief appears to be. So, but LeBron James is clearly one of the ringleaders. To be in the position that he is in.
Right. Well, didn't I say that he wants to be one of the ringleaders? That's what I stated explicitly. That is his goal. He wants that. Or he thinks he wants that. No, but we're gonna find out.
With potentially so much to lose, because let's be clear about something. Conservatives do spend money. Okay, so he obviously doesn't give a damn about that, and he is to be applauded for it.
Conservatives spend money, but conservatives are not buying LeBron James' sneakers. LeBron James knows that he has a liberal machine behind him right now. He is a quote-unquote woke athlete. He is down that rabbit hole. He's one of those guys who spends all his time on social media, on Twitter and Snapchat and so on and so forth, and he does not want to be called a coon. He knows on this issue, when it comes to Trump, he cannot issue he cannot come out with any type of statement acting as if he's not aware of the Trump situation. He has to act like he is, even if he isn't, because the black mafia on the internet will call him a coon, and he won't be able to handle it if that happens. All right. People think that these black athletes that are liberal are just that they're speaking from their heart. For the most part, they're speaking from a standpoint of, please just don't get at me like you got at Ray Lewis and Michael Vick.
Here's a hot take for you. In certain ways, maybe in the largest way, LeBron James is now past Michael Jordan.
No, sir. No, sir. What LeBron James is a product of his environment and of his era. We're in the woke era. I've already explained this. Michael Jordan did not participate in the woke era. In the 80s, when Jordan came into the NBA, there was no social media. Therefore, there was no beehive think. There was no hive thought process like you have now through social media, where everybody has to think a certain way or they get lambasted. Jordan came up in the era of the 80s where he was the one who laid the groundwork for these athletes of today. Michael Jordan is the reason why LeBron James can get behind a microphone and not be worried if certain contracts dry up, certain sponsors or endorsements decide to cut ties with him, because he's made so much money because of the economic blueprint that Michael Jordan created for these athletes in regards to endorsements and getting aligned with corporations. Michael Jordan was one of the first athletes, if not the first athlete, to demand to not get paid in money, but to get paid in stock points. All right. He told Charles Barkley, do not take money from Nike. Ask for stock points so that the money keeps rolling in no matter what. He was the guy who did that. So, yeah, LeBron James could sit behind a microphone and talk shit all day, and he can inspire people to be woke. Michael Jordan did things behind the scenes and in the boardroom to show the way for a lot of these athletes. He's the reason why a Russell Westbrook, a James Harden, Steph Curry, a LeBron James could have $100 million, $200 million, $300 million shoe deals. It's because of Michael Jordan. All right. Once again, Michael Jordan was not in the woke era. So you have to judge a man by his era. That's why I give Ali credit. Ali is the only athlete to transcend his era in regards to the stands that he made. All right. And even Ali was part of an era of rebellion, what they call revolution, the revolutionary era. He was part of that era, but he still transcended as an athlete, even above most of those athletes, because he was part of a legitimate group, a legitimate organization that was culturally based. That's what I give him credit for. But they try to come down on Michael Jordan all the time. Michael Jordan was no different from Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Mike Tyson, Jerry Rice, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., and all the other great black athletes in that era who just loved being on commercials on TV. All right? That's all that was to that. Shannon Sharpe talks all this shit today. He was in the NFL in the 90s. I defy anybody to find one interview of Shannon Sharpe speaking about race when he was on the Denver Broncos. Just one.
Because I don't think he's late to the party here at all. He's an NBA player. He came out and called the president a bum. He's not mincing words.
Ooh, I bet that cut Trump to the heart. He called him a bum. That was so incisive. That was so insightful. He called him a bum. Give me a break.
No, I'm not saying he was late. I'm saying that there were people that were saying months ago that he should have said something.
I'll tell you what. I've seen LeBron take a strong leadership stance on social issues.
LeBron has not taken any leadership stance on any issues. What he's done is he's followed the tide. Okay, LeBron is not a leader in regards to real issues. What he is he's somebody who can go back to his community and give the children there a positive outlook and a positive message, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing. But to sit there and call him a leader, no, he's not leading anybody anywhere. He can't even lead his own damn team, right? The second best player on his team left him.
Practically from day one, but especially because he got to the league as a kid. He was a teenager, especially as he became a man and started feeling himself and understanding his place in the world, which is a powerful one. He is led on social issues, and I wouldn't underestimate the strength of his position and the courage that he gives, that he encourages, that he inspires in others when he does not mince words. I think
this is the normal rambling of a Caucasian liberal who likes what a so-called black liberal said, because it was in lockstep. It was in line. Like I told you guys last week, you watch how quick the Caucasian liberal will turn against a so-called black man when he shows rebelliousness against them, like Kyrie Irving did. Okay? Look, I like LeBron. I think sometimes people hear me say things about some of these guys in my videos and they think that I dislike them. I don't dislike any brother at all. All right? Some of them are just less informed than others. And I just assess the situation. I have love for LeBron, even though I think that he has dual motives. It is what it is. I think that he's a good politician. I think he's a great political athlete. And therefore, he's a great asset to the powers that be on the liberal side. Therefore, he's a pawn. But no, he's not. He's not a leader, right? In the conventional form of the term. He's somebody who can be used as a middleman. Hence the term boule, which he is a member of. He has the Sphinx tattoo on his chest. Right? He is a boule member, which means that he acts as an advisor. Right? He's an intermediary, and he's essential in that role.
Here's a question: who came off as more presidential here?
Oh, we know who the answer.
LeBron James or Donald Trump?
No, that's
Well, I don't think either one of them came off as classy per se, if that's what you mean by presidential. Neither one of them came off as quote unquote classy. I think that LeBron James is trying to issue a challenge to Donald Trump to get into a back and forth with him. I think that he's incensed that Donald Trump mentioned Steph Curry's name and not his name. I think that's all it's about. And I think eventually Donald Trump is going to give him what he wants, and it's going to be a matter of whether or not LeBron is mentally able to handle what Donald Trump is going to give his ass.
well, that's the easy answer.
Donald Trump cut his teeth in terms of the media business in New York City, on the New York Post and the tabloids and that kind of stuff. On Fox News, the New York Post, Fox News are Murdoch propaganda outlets.
Yeah, a lot like your station, ESPN, a propaganda outlet for liberal bullshit.
And Trump knows that very well. He understands how to exploit emotive issues to get people to feel, to distract people, to get them to align themselves with him based on those emotive issues. He's expert at
My only challenge with that is you say Fox News or stuff like that, but you know what? The Apprentice was on NBC.
Yeah,
That's
no,
GE.
No, I'm not talking about Trump. Listen,
Right.
Trump is undeniably a leading man and a media star. He's been that since day one. It's impossible to take your eyes off him. I'm of course, and he works across all kinds of media platforms. Obviously, in fact, when you get to the general election, the number one indicator of who's going to get elected in my lifetime has been who's more charismatic, who could open a movie, basically.
Right, because they're all actors, you idiot. They're all actors, man. Hello? I mean, look, I'm going to wrap this video up here because I pretty much heard all I need to hear. I don't think that Kellerman has much else to say. I've already made the points I need to make off of his bullshit. But, of course, it's all about who's more charismatic because it's about the cult of personality, who can cultivate it. Behind the scenes, all of these guys have a common allegiance. They might not all have a common outlook, but they all have a common allegiance. Their job is to make sure that the money keeps rolling in for the international bankers. All right? And they cycle it through the Federal Reserve. That's all it's about. And if Trump affects their money, then that's when they'll get rid of him, not for any of this racial bullshit. As far as race is concerned, it's up to the black man to find his own way and come together with his own people and be prepared for this fall. But anyway,